Welcome to Lesson 10. In this session, we're going to explore how we can make music for video. Now, YuStudio comes with a set of videos that you can use. They are up on the video tab here. So let's click on the tab and you can see that I've got a list of videos to choose from. It tells me how long they are on the right hand side here. So you can see some of them are quite short, like the Hogwarts game. I don't know what that would be. And the school fundraiser. They're quite short. And some are quite long, like the car racing game and the ocean zone. Below it, we have what's called a preview window. And you can see it says preview there. So this is the red fade to black. It tells me here as well and tells me what it's about on the right hand side here. So it says it's skate video vibes. Lots of movement, energy, and young people being active. Can you supply an active, energetic soundtrack? Well, possibly, but I'm not actually interested in doing that one. The one I'd like to show you today is the ocean zone, because I really like the ocean, and I think that the imagery in the video here is really well filmed and very inspiring. So let's have a quick look at that. We can press play here, and it will give us a little preview. Now you'll notice there's no sound. And the reason for that is because it's your job to create the sound. And that's why there's no sound. So at the moment we had a little bit of text saying something, then we saw the top of the water surface, and now we've gone deep underwater here. And there's coral, also we're on the seabed. More coral. That's the seafloor, sea slug. And now we're back at the surface. So I'm going to use the ocean zone here. Let's put it in by double clicking. And it's now loaded the video onto my track. You can see all the different frames that make up the video. And you can see that I've got now this little player panel here. Let's close this window so that we don't get confused between the preview window and our player window. That's very important. This one is in time with your music. This one is just a preview. It doesn't work in time with your play button. So let's close that so we don't use it by accident. Before we do something with this and start making sounds for it, I want to talk to you briefly about the role of a composer. So the role of music and sound in video and films is very important because it really sets the mood of a scene. For example, most people have seen Star Wars: A New Hope and will remember the first time they saw Darth Vader at the start of the film when he walks through a door surrounded by stormtroopers after a big battle in the corridor. Now, the music that plays is very dramatic because it's been a big battle scene, and we know that Darth Vader is a bad guy. Now, imagine if Darth Vader had walked into that corridor and you heard da 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 da. Would you be scared of Darth Vader? No, you wouldn't. Instead, the music, it's dramatic. It tells you a lot about Darth Vader before he's even said a word. And if you didn't know who Darth Vader was, you would know straight away, just by the emotion in the music, that this was a bad person. So let's have a quick think about the imagery we saw here. I'll press play again and I'll show you the video. I'll make it a bit bigger by dragging the bottom corner here. That's how you can resize it, and you can make it small again by dragging it again. So let's take it back because I was talking. Okay, so we've got this bit of text here with a message. And then just before bar 5, we go underwater. Now, let's think of the sort of words that describe what we're seeing. When I look at this, I think of calmness, I think of peace, and everything feels slow. and beautiful. So those are the sort of emotions that I want to try and portray. So let's stop it now. And I'm going to show you how we can start adding sounds to compose for this video. So to do this, I'm going to first go to the sounds folder. And this time I'm going to go straight to packs. And I'm going to scroll all the way back down to L Train, because next to L Train is another pack that I've explored before. This one, Kayla Painter Artist Pack. And I happen to know that inside that pack are a few sounds that would be really good to set the mood for this video. So I'm going to click on there, and here at the top, second one down, ambient atmosphere with fades. Let's have a listen. Okay, that feels good, so I'm going to double click. Now it's telling me it's set the tempo again and the key. Oh no, not the key this time, just the tempo. Okay, that's fine. But we can see here while we're at it that the key is F sharp. So to help us later when I want to add one of my instruments over here, I'm going to set that to F sharp. I'll set it to F sharp major because that's what it was. It's not going to matter for how I use it. Let's go back to sounds. Let's see what else we've got here. What's this? Arctic atmosphere noise. Well, that sounds a bit like scuba diving or something. That would be good for the bubbles that happen around bar 7 here. Okay, so let's double click, put that in. So I'm going to close this now because I'm not going to go too crazy. I just want to show you a bit of how you can use this so you get an idea. So we'll close the sounds folder. I'm going to move my video over here a little bit, maybe make it a bit smaller so it's underneath my instruments. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom out a bit down the bottom here and drag my purple one, the first sound I put in, the ambient sound in. And then I'm going to try and find where this text changes from text to the first picture. So again, let's zoom in now a little bit and let's see where it happens. It looks like it happens between bar 5 and 6 here. So I'm going to drag this and try and line it up on the line there with where the big peak of that sound starts. I'm not going to listen to it yet because I want to see the effect all in one go. Now, the last thing I want to do is give a sense of the deep ocean. A lot of what we saw was the seabed, and I want people to feel like they're really deep down in the ocean. So to do that, I'm going to come to New Track and Sound Bank and go to our old friend Synth Pad 2 Warm that we used in lesson 3. Let's click on that and load that in. Okay, I can close the control panel and I'll double click to put in a block. I'm just going to close this for a minute because I want to make this block really long. So I'll drag that block right across the screen there. I'm going to go inside now, and you can see I've got a lot of blocks, but that's okay. It's just going to be one long note. So first of all, I need to find the right note. Now, we chose F sharp major because it said that this ambient atmosphere was in the key of F sharp major. So I'm going to find my home note or my root note using my orange dot here and click on it. Now, does that sound deep ocean? It doesn't to me. So let's come over to the side and scroll down to F sharp 1. Let's have a look at that orange one. That is quite deep, but maybe we could go deeper. Let's have a look. F sharp 0. That sounds really good. Let's put a note in there. And rather than trying to find the edge of this and drag it all the way across, I'm just going to use our quick method of selecting it and pressing legato. And now it is across. So we can close this window. Now I think that I would like the deep part to come in maybe round where it changes to the first scene of the coral. So let's move that over in line with that there where it changes shot. Okay, I think we're ready to go. And what's interesting about this is just 3 sounds I've added, but you'll notice how much it changes the picture. Before, when we watched it, it was very beautiful and the photography is wonderful, but it was also kind of boring. And it was boring because there was no emotion other than, oh, that looks pretty, which isn't really enough to engage a viewer with your video. So let's see what just 3 sounds can do to change the feel of the picture. I'm going to drag the picture out a little bit so we can see it bigger. Let's press rewind to make sure we're at the beginning. Loop is off because I don't want to loop it and spoil it. Here we go. Okay. That was so much more interesting. It had a mood and it had an atmosphere. And that's your mission for this lesson. I would like you now to go to your video folder and preview the videos, explore which video you'd like to do, choose a video, and then come to sounds and start finding sounds that work with it. Now, a lot of you, if I go back to video, a lot of you will want to do the various game videos that are here. There's also a video game trailer here. If we click play there, you can see some of that. And a good place to find sounds for this sort of thing is back in the sounds folder on the sample and loops. And again, choose that sound effects filter here. And this time for the game ones, you'll find useful sounds in sci-fi. Things like this. Blasters, reloads, laser shots. Of course, you've got your war sounds. If you're doing the underwater one like I did, there's an underwater one here. Lots of scuba sounds and deep ocean sounds that you can choose, underwater effects. Lots of useful sounds. And of course, there's nature, industry, lots of different sounds that are really useful for the game and nature type videos. Now, if you're doing something more like the red fade to black, let's have a look at that. That's not really about sound effects, that is about music. Or the school fundraiser, let's have a look at that one. This is the sort of thing that's going to want music. So to do that, you could come to sounds and maybe start in the packs. Let's come out of Kayla's one here. Maybe start in the packs. You could choose a genre to reduce the packs a bit. So maybe for the school one, you might want to come to funk and soul and see what sort of sounds are available in there. But don't be afraid to just try things out. Remember, if it doesn't work, you can just delete the track from the sequence. So there's no need to worry about it. Just play around, try things out, and of course, most of all, have fun.